Hi, fifth grade. Welcome back. Hopefully, you are as far along on your outer space picture as I am with mine. I hope you had a nice and relaxing break from art class, whether it was just one weekend or it was all of winter break. Either one, I still hope you had a lovely time. But we need to get our lovely outer space landscape, our alien landscape, done and completed. Okay, for today, we are going to be finishing one more area of this background, of this landscape. We're going to be focusing on our mountains today. And then to finish off our landscape, next week you will worry about the pit and what is in the pit for you. Today, just the mountains. I'm not even going to worry about my little welcome sign or this little thing here. I'm just going to worry about the mountains themselves and anything that I have on them. So if you drew like a city on your mountain, or if you have some little plants or formations, or if there's like I don't know, random UFO literally sitting on or is a part of your mountains, then you can color those today. But if it's something that's on the ground in front of it, like this archway and my welcome sign, or like this guy's in the pit, and I also have this pit business to worry about, those things are for next time. Hopefully, we will be finishing our project next week. Okay, here we go. To do these mountains and have them look as beautiful and convincing as our outer space does, or, our markered foreground is, we are going to be working with that concept of atmospheric perspective. Atmospheric perspective is something that was on our vocabulary quiz. Hopefully, you remember what it is. Atmospheric perspective is where the things closer to you are more intense in color, and the things that are further away are lighter in color. And today we're going to be using colored pencils to do that. Now, if you are one of my friends out there who maybe doesn't have colored pencils with you, or doesn't own any, you can also do your mountains in crayon, or you can do your mountains in oil pastel. With all three of these materials, you're going to be mixing colors to create that atmospheric perspective, to create the effect, that fading effect that happens with atmospheric perspective. So I find that it works the best when you start with the land closest to you. So for me, if I look at my mountains, these two mountains, this little guy here that's kind of being covered up by these two objects, but this little bit of mountain here, and then this mountain over on the left, these two mountains are in front of any of the other ones that I have drawn. Okay, for most of you, if you followed along with me when we initially drew our landscapes, you probably have the two outside ones as the most forward mountains as well. But if not, you look at your picture and decide which one is the most forward mountain. Okay. For those two mountains, we're going to color them as hard and dark and hard as we can with a colored pencil to fill it in so that there's no white left. Now, I went ahead and sharpened these colored pencils before I started this video for you today. And if you can tell, these colored pencils don't look like they have that much of a tip on them. They're actually sort of blunt. The perfect one probably is the white one. Okay, they have some colored lead showing, but not much. That is what a good sharpened colored pencil should look like. You want to have a little bit of lead hanging out there, but not a whole ton. If you have a really tall, skinny, long colored pencil tip on the end of your colored pencil, yes, it will look beautiful, but it will not last you very long. It will break very, very quickly. So a short little nub is great. You will have to sharpen your colored pencil a lot while you are coloring, and that's just how it goes. So I like to keep my little sharpener close to me. Mine has a little twist top, whatever kind of pencil sharpener you've got is fine. But when I do sharpen my colored pencils, I'm going to do the pink one because it's the only one I didn't prep. But I like to stick it in here and then twist 3 times only. So 1, 2, 3. And then I pull it out and I use it. That's plenty. That is a beautifully sharpened colored pencil. If you sharpen it any more than 3 twists, then it will just end up breaking on you. Okay, but that's something for another day. All right, I'm going to start with these 2. Colored pencils, crayons, and oil pastels are all pressure-based materials. So in order to get a really dense, bright maroon color on these mountains, I'm going to push down fairly hard with my colored pencil so that there is no white left showing whatsoever. These 2 mountains are going to be dark and hard. Okay? If your pencil lead breaks while you are coloring, that's no big deal because you should have a pencil sharpener handy and you should be able to sharpen it and keep going. Okay, now I chose a colored pencil that is as close to this marker color as I could. Do you need to do that? No. Can your mountains be whatever kind of color you want them to be? Yes, of course. Okay, but you are going to be filling this in pretty solid. Okay, colored pencils and crayons are both like a wax or a resin-based material, and so when you're done with it, it should have a little bit of a sheen to it. So if you tilt your paper, you should be able to see some shine there. So that little bit of mountain is done. It's another one that's really close to me. This one I also need to do, so let me go ahead and do this. I'm not too worried at the moment about going outside the edges because the next mountain over is going to be a similar color as well. Ooh. I can't handle this. Ugh. I like to have the hard surface underneath my picture, especially when coloring. Now, say you wanted to have like different areas on your mountains, you know, maybe you're going to put white peaks on them, or you're going to make a mix kind of bluish green, you know, ombre effect, or something, you know, where it's more than one color. You can go about this the same way. This mountain, you're still going to push down dark and hard with that colored pencil to color it. I'm very carefully going around my little crystals. And I will go back through and color them whatever color I want them to be as well. That is your choice. Now, some of you are like, oh my gosh, she's changing direction. She's making her paper go all different ways. If you have filled it in completely solid, like I'm doing here, and there's no white left, it shouldn't matter. Now, if there are little like white areas showing on my page, it's either the edge of the page or it's a spot where I had drawn something previously and erased it. So now it's like a dent in the paper, and there's not much I can do about that anyway. It would show up no matter what direction I was coloring in. Markers, always one direction because they show up. Color pencils, especially when you're doing dark and hard, it doesn't much matter. There is a more correct way to color with colored pencils, but for this project, we're okay. All right. I've got my two close ones pretty good. This, oh my gosh, I've used up basically the whole thing. So stick it in, twist, twist, twist. Ah, ready to go. Okay, second mountain. Second mountain, I want it to be a little bit lighter in color. So that, we may have talked about this earlier in the year. Where did we? I'm probably wasting time. Yeah! We talked about this earlier in the year when we talked about layering with crayons. We're going to do the same thing with our colored pencils. I'm going to take a slightly lighter colored pencil color. So for me today, that's going to be pink. Little known fact, Mrs. Dominic actually hates the color pink, but for this, it's going to be effective. So I'm going to take this mountain because this mountain is still in front of that one. You see how it crosses over in front of it? So this mountain is closer to us than this mountain, than the welcome mountain. So I'm going to take the one to the left. You look at your paper, figure out which mountain it is on your page. And I'm actually going to do like with the layering of crayons, and I'm going to color fairly lightly with my colored pencil here because I'm going to end up coloring this mountain twice. I want my mountain to end up being a mixture of this color and that color so that it looks lighter. So I'm lightly coloring. You don't need to outline. You don't need to do any of that other jibber jabber that you might do with crayons. I'm just doing a nice light even coat. Even though, gotta be careful there, that bit's wet. Even though you might think like, oh no, oh gosh, sorry. I'm not doing very well multitasking today. Even though you might think like, oh, I can just go and it won't make any difference and leave like these white gaps all over the place, it makes a huge difference. You need to do it. You need to make a solid coating. Even though you're doing it lightly, it still needs to be a solid coating with no white of the paper showing through. Well, no big chunks of white showing through. Let's put it that way. All right, almost done. Almost done, I swear. Ah! Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to go back to my regular color, my magenta color. That color that was the same as the land down here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a light coating of this color right on top of the pink. Now I need to be very careful because I'm using my fancy colored pencils, and these fancy colored pencils will write on top of anything and everything. So I actually will probably have to go back and forth between the two to make sure that this color blends out and becomes more pale. We don't want it to change colors. We don't want one mountain to be red and the next mountain to be pink and the third mountain to be white. They'll kind of look that way, but I don't want them to actually be labeled that way. I just want this color to become more and more and more pale as we go down the way. So I'm going to keep going on this one. You go ahead and do your second mountain. And if I finish before you, feel free to pause until you're done and then keep going with the video. Now I want these little crystals to stand out, so I'm gonna try and put a little bit of like little something something around them so that when I color they show up. Not bad, not bad. I also want to put a little shadow over here, just to show that this mountain is overlapping. But it's nothing exciting. Okay. Dark mountain, medium mountain, lightest mountain. Oh, okay, this time we're going to do white, and then pink, and then red. Your hands tired yet? I know mine are. The white does not have to be quite as solid as the pink and the red. Here, let me do this little area so you can see what's happening. White, pink, red. And then I'm going to go back over it with white. White is my blender color. Dark, medium, light, all the exact same color. When you are done with your mountains, you can do any of the little detail-y things in it, and then you are done for today. Okay? If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. That's what I'm here for. And I will hopefully be seeing some beautiful artwork coming my way from all of you very soon. Okay? Good luck. Have a good one. And I will see you soon. Bye.